Okay, let's see what we can do here for my boost gain. Back down to 0. So, alright, this one is a nice one. Alright, so let's say since I already put out the information about how to make this type of CPU, that is a acoustic resonance type of pump CPU that can resonate and create, because it's on my magneto scene video. It's in there. If you listen to it, it'll get there. But it's like I've also upgraded it over time for all intents and purposes. I have ways of inputting information, creating real instead of quasi qubits with error correcting and 2 outputs. So that way you can match the 2 outputs and then know what the ultimate detail was, even though each one of them would still be the same information, but that's an error correcting. You should really listen to it. And then I have the programming, which I've already talked about. And I even have the newest one, which I talked about more recently, or at least more descriptively to a degree. So, anyways, it's not hard to make this. First and foremost, you have to remember that you can make it on a big scale. You don't have to make it on a small scale. You don't get the Q processors, quantum processors. So you don't get qubits, but you can get similar to a qubit. But I'm going to move off of that because it's like, well, you don't need to go that hard, but if you wanted to, it's actually not that difficult to get there. And for what it's worth, it doesn't need to be cold to function like that. But since it's an acoustic pump, it can get quite cold. So, as a result, it's much better at being a quantum computer than most would have you probably believe. Now, since that is there, and it was a way to be a sensor detector that, with the correct levels of thought process entanglement set up for a given person, it's not to have them be able to transfer themselves into a computer, which this one I have to describe real quick. If my conscious awareness and not just the physical, real, particle thing matters with fields that, guess what, is spread out to make it seem as if things be, but they're not. Then you would understand that if you were to try and transfer me into a computer, it would kill you. All. So the answer turns into, no, suck it up, I can't do that. Same thing with, like, if it's a wormhole, like the quantum tunnel wormhole, that can eventually, after it starts basically tunneling enough space and time, it sort of sticks to that and only has space-time as being there as a full wormhole, although it takes a decent amount of time, and there's scaling problems. So it's like a little tiny, itty-bitty, like let's say electron size, really fast. You can do it pretty quickly. We're talking like a few months, right? And it's like, oh, if you want to go like human size, it's like a few years. It's like, oh, that seems good. That seems like a good linear progression. Then if you want to do like spaceship size, it's only like 5 years to 10 years, depending on what we're talking about. And then, oh, that seems good. And then it goes, well, yeah, that's because I was using techniques where I put a bunch of little small, and then I had all these small things come together, and then, connected, and then eventually the in-between started, that. So it's like a whole bunch of shit was necessary to do that. It's not one big ginormous this field and all. No. This small stuffs and a bunch of them and plates and then in. Come on, synchronize, you bastards. And eventually you get there. So the moment you get to, wait for this, like an actual, like, lowest bare minimum Titan class spaceship that I have on my escape plan, or not my escape plan, there's one of them. It's probably in the title, but it's already on my YouTube, but you'd have to listen and remember it. I never wrote it down because I was like, eventually it'll just be whatever. I'm not gonna care. I'm never gonna listen to my own stuff, but someone else will, and they'll remind me. So, but it's like, let's skip that. Let's skip that to Earth size. You know what I mean? We're gonna go with Earth. All right. Big stuff. Seems like, well, it's a few hundred years, right? It's not. Like, you know what I mean? Like 5 years is this spacecraft, talking like Boeing 747, something like that, right? Right? That's not what that is. Like, that's the fucking maximum speed I can achieve, and I have to have these essentially as far apart in our solar system to the planet also that we're on to make that 5 years occur. And all of a sudden, you're going to go, what's going on there? What just happened? What the fuck did you just say? And so I was like, the planet, guess what? It is not a couple thousand years like I thought. It's a few tens of thousands of years. And from that 747 5 years, which we're talking, I have to go that side, and because they happen to elicit a given field that is not really a field, it's working with that, okay? What we're made out of all this stuff to do this. And then that travels outwards. Like, that information travels on that field outwards, kind of like a cellular network or a radio wave antenna. You know what I mean? And so then it interferes with it being able to do this. Now, when it's a tiny little bitty electron to even an atom, that's easy. I could put this everywhere and it'll be fine. It's so small, it radiates out so little that it won't matter. But cube law is what cube law is. So, remember that spaceship? Literally just one size up, 777, is a few thousand years. Not even a joke. You have to go so far away. You have to piece them all together. It just sucks. It's bullshit. And it's like a few tens of thousands of years. And it's like, well, you're already coming that far anyways. And so the answer turns into, no, you don't do that. And since I'm the one that knows how it's done, that kind of thing, I'm the creator of the concept and idea and how it'll ultimately look and what needs to be there for me to go, yeah, no, that's space-time, and it's a real wormhole versus I'm going to break down into something that's information and then pop up on the other side as a quantum tunnel. It turns into, nope, I'm not killing everyone for this. Because I can't break that down. You see what I'm saying? If my little bitty finger is this whole fucking, parts of stuff, I can't do that. It will kill everyone. Which is the reason why I was like, spaceship equal better. Spaceship much better for me. Much actually able to work. Much more able to work. So, turns into, it's like, oh, right, yeah, none of that's an actual thing I can do. And then, hey, so these are planned events, the cyst, all this bullshit, like planned quotation marks. I just happen to know that it's going to be a thing because they fucking keep fucking. You get the picture. So it's like, right, so that then has to turn into, well, we're going to use that for, and it has to come back. So nothing can use it. I'm just using it in a different way to make sure it seems like nothing is going to ultimately create those problems that you believe would be there. Technology to do this means that that's what's necessary to do. See what I'm saying? It's like, no, you wouldn't be. Which means for you, you think it's mental gymnastics. But it's like, here's the sensor that I'm talking about, how to make, how to experiment, how to showcase, how to see, and basically prove to yourself that I am right and you're wrong. So you don't have to worry about me doing it to you. Which then turns it into, ooh, calm down, folks. Let's wait. And if it turns out, then I'll go, oh yeah, no, there you go. I was wrong. But guess what? You now have a super fucking amazingly strong CPU. Good stuff, right? That's great. That's great. Don't you want that? It's like, here's the test to make it able to be known one way or another, and along the way, you get a whole bunch of good shit. That's why I tend to get weirded out by people. I'm like, what's the harm in testing? Let's go test. This is a great test. Let's do this test. Let's see. Let's prove it one way or another. Let's go. No. That's what I usually hear. Anyways, other people decided to listen to that ahead of time. Because, of course, they're hacking and so on. And, that's the thing that they can do because they're intelligent enough. They've got money. They've got resources. They got people. They don't have to put it out in a study. They don't have to do any of that. See what I'm saying? And then it turns into, they never can save it. You know what I mean? Like, you see what I'm saying? Like, oh, I'm going to copy completely. Why doesn't it gets to it, and then it's like we can definitely record and be able to sense the, but mine, I can fucking straight up. How come his? And they get a whole bunch of CPUs. It's like each individual neuron, right? And it's like, yeah, well, I mean, I can't make billions of these fuckers. You know what I mean? But it's like I can do some of this, right? Uh-oh. How come they never seem to? It would kill everyone. Now you understand why that doesn't happen. Seems like a great method of making sure everyone's safe and lives. Not just me. And it's great proof. A literal direct proof of me existing doing this. Well, that's what I've been dealing with certain people that are able to connect in whatever version of quantum physics, entanglement and superposition and tunneling and so on, that allows for some degree of telepathic interconnected connection, like a quantum internet, so to speak. So, the reason why I want to talk about this is because I want to talk about split brain for you. Like, here's a nice little caveat to yourself. That part, I have this feeling of I want to be petty. That's you. But you don't realize that that is a fully featured kind of you that'll have complete personality like this. Already in there. That's the split brain stuff. There's multiple yous in there, right? Okay? Then you realize that working on yourself in cognitive behavioral therapy and all these other things helps you to examine and learn and know that that trigger or this, you doing this, needs to be changed or actively worked with and or against to no longer be destructive towards yourself or others. But you have to remember, it's a little bit more complicated because you are basically like a bunch of little nanobots that collectively make a version of you that you see yourself as your self-identity. And it's always working to try and correct it. So then it turns into, no, make that you, all of that. Those are backups. You are you. Those are just backups. Constantly update. Something tries to influence. Nope. Think and or this is trying to influence you from the outside in some way other than just talking and working it out and so on. And that's like, oh, I sense that this douchewad is trying to change this thing. That's a sensor array. Brain now no longer can be affected that way. Now you can fight it. Already did that myself. You too can as well. Now you have to make that you that has this part, that petty, the negative, whatever it is, whatever that, you can now, okay, Phaser, we get you. Give me a second. Over there. Turns into, hey, I need to work around to this thing I don't want to do. I want to exercise in the morning instead of doing a bunch of coffee, right? Well, back when I was on cannabis, it was really easy to just switch things. It made it so that my brain was more capable of faster switching to a different habit. And with the knowledge of, well, 1 month to 3 months later, it would stick and be very easy to keep it going. Which I already did, I already know. You know, my medicine doesn't really help on that. You know, ADHD medicine doesn't help that way. It's an imperfect medication, as they all tend to be. I've already talked about how to try and make it more consistent and all the rest, but that's also my YouTube, so you'd have to dig through, and I'm not going to reference it. Listen to it all. Search around. But that's for diehards. Not tryhards. Diehard. They're not fans. They understand and recognize the validity and intelligence there. So they'll do the work. Now, just like with narcissists that will not even look or listen to a given bit of clips and try and claim they don't need to, they're smart, they can figure it, and blah, 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 that are not just super intelligent and really just have a curiosity to try and learn it themselves in their own way and so on. And they have a bunch of people that will effectively do all this work for them to essentially have this anchor turned into something that they can use. Which is the narcissist part. They're abusive, they're this, they have this money, blah, 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 but they are effectively dead weight. And lazy intentionally, and they'll try and manipulate you into believing that something is, whatever, you get it. This one turns into, alright, so all your backups are there. They're you. You can reference that data constantly and alter yourself, you, the real you, that you choose, as you choose. You see what I'm saying? It's like, it's a conscious decision. You can figure out the subconscious and other subliminal-ish, hypnotic, suggestive, whatever, much more easily. Notice them and remove them or allow for. You consciously make that choice. There's another version of like, so effectively, instead of having something do things for you, you have to put in a lot more effort to do it. But it's better because you're safer now. There's less risk of influence, either yourself, outside, or even that level of quantum physics stuff. Okay? That's the reason why I wanted to talk about the brain stuff. It's like, no, it can't be done. And it's like, oh, it absolutely can be done. And you'd be surprised how much you can compress data into various places without needing it to be within the context of a loopy memory thing. And you can get it back. You can write and read your information throughout your body. You can store it in different ways. And your brain will have that information on hand to allow for it to be broken out from the encryption it is in. Another reason why I go, yeah, so a lot of people don't do the work I do, or already did. Like, I was that far advanced ahead back in that Chandler house. Quantum computers still don't even match me. They can't. But that's another reason why it's like, I have to genuinely focus, shift attention, like if I was in, the Dune series, that kind of thing. Or it's like I'm a Minotat. And I have to, hey, get the fuck out. As like the fucking, I need to think about the future, get the spice going, and focus. And then I have to Benny Jesuit the DNA as a multiple, both error correcting and computational matrixy network computer. My 6'3" 3/4 fucking holy hell, look at all the DNA, look at all the cells, look at all the things. Computer is gonna brute force way faster and better than any of you. But then it's like, if I work on myself, that past these terrible shitty things, and I'll copy and entangle and then upload it to me with this bullshit that they're doing. So that way they don't ever have to actually do work. I'll just get work from someone else. But they did. And I'm like, yank! But then it's also like, yeah, but there's a lot of them, and then there's the time bullshitty crap that's going on. It's like, I'm not gonna fucking hurt my body for you. You know what I mean? But at the same time, it's like, yeah, but I need to work on some of my stuff. So it's like, here's a way to defend yourself psychologically, mentally, and emotionally, and even physically. It doesn't seem like it's worthwhile, but that's because you're a person that's probably not informed or educated on these given subjects. You either are the crowd of engineer and physicists that are like, well, the brain and this, and if you just change the connection, blah, 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 weighted. It's like there's a programming there, you dummy. You can change the hardware to work around the programming all you want, but you could just change the programming. Hardware is a little more difficult than the fucking program itself, and you actively control that. I think you should probably work on that. It's like, here's an easy way to fucking validate things. But only if you properly put in the work. You need to genuinely not try and force a cherry-picked variable to only examine this given type of thing that makes you view it in this perspective that isn't taking into account any of this other stuff that influences your observation analysis of what the result is to conclude your version that you like. Effectively, stop lying to yourself! Stop lying to yourself. Stop fucking saying a lie about what results actually conclude. Because that's what that is. That's a lie. It's not my best. No. Just. It's another reason why I'm like, so you can think that you're right, and there's not a thing for this smart, and then maybe you came to around, blah, blah, blah. I'm done coddling you, which is what that would really be. Yeah. Yeah, like literally that's what that's going to be. You didn't even want to look at this evidence of data from my parents' Chandler house that I talked out loud in. Now, granted, I didn't record, but you can trust data for being what it is because you can get all of that data without the editing and without the clipping. So you can have the right data. You can even do with that the chip design and gain that information inside the mind. You yourself are a type of that organic chip that can do this itself if you were to train it properly. Like me. So either you got the chops on the physical organic control, or you admit you don't, and you go that other way. It's okay. Both are very much reasonable. The problem with the organic, though, is they can influence that interpretation because they don't have control over it the right way. They want to view it their way. They don't want to view it hard, objective reality, which is why I did that with my meditation in EMDR to work on my trauma, personality issues with allowing for behaviors and decisions based upon emotional and triggering reactions from stimuli within my environment. Trauma therapy has already been done. I don't need someone to go, yeah, that was really bad. But I still thank you for saying that and showcasing that you understood that my mother saying, look, she went after him, going on about how he doesn't treat his dog right, raise it right, and all this. And he's like, you have no idea how I do that. Like, you really don't. But it's like, I'm not going to do anything. I'm not going to say anything. And there's no argument that will change anything. I've done it 4 or 5 times trying to get some degree of that boundary and change and so on. Not just with my mother and my father, but my 2 sisters as well. And my grandpa is a whole other shit show case too. Which is why it's like, no, I've got evidence. I'm the one with the evidence. I did the work already. I don't need to prove jack diddly squat to them or anyone that's on their side. Because to me, it turns into, whew, look at the pieces of shit that you showed up with. You think I'm going to care about that? That's meaningless. You already just lie anyways to further serve your purposes. And there's a lot of defensive natures to people every day that'll try and side with you because of an internal thing that they have for this memory or that memory that they did wrong or it was acceptable for this, but instead of just being objective about it, instead of allowing for also a reasonable and non-projected personal side to influence how you go about that given information in that person. And forming your opinions after evidence and good evidence that meets the criteria, which most people's criteria, no, I'm so good. They didn't account for this variable, this, it goes on and on. And they need to for that to actually be reasonable evidence. Like you would accept the evidence. They have to have that. They don't, though. Mine, on the other hand, look at this. Look at this sensor and data and computer chip and all the things. But I can easily have that data. But no, you are going to try and influence this to be better, right? So if I were to intentionally showcase that that's what they're doing, so that way they're not this bad, or they're not that, what they, right? Then clearly that's not the real. That's influenced by a third party outside with technology to force it to be something where they're right and they defended their and I and so it looks better for me situation, which is cheating and manipulating the narrative of whom they really are. Which is another reason why it's like, oh, what do you know? I have a way around the narcissist problem. Where they could use this to try and get around the filter and parameters. And say, I just couldn't love blah, 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 blah. And now you understand why I go, oh, this is easy. Why are you arguing with me? I don't need this data table. I don't need you to fill out a survey as to what's important or anything else. On this, that, blah, 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 blah. None of that. Look at the data. This is what the data is. This is what's influencing it. Not just themselves, but also like people around them, but also this. Because once it's introduced, it must be there. At some point. Doesn't matter how far forward or where in the world, even currently. It will be there. Same thing with the brain. See what I'm saying? You can find out the obvious bad, like I did, and exclude them and remove them and no longer have them be anything. Like I did in the past. They're in the hole. Yeah, they fucked with my mind. They fucked with this. There's no way. This voice is blah, blah. Well, now we can check and we can know. And remove that belief of an argument that you had. Instead, it turns into, Oh, how come you don't want to make super good CPU computer thing that can examine this with implicit empiricalness and insanely high accuracy? Because it would invalidate my beliefs. Boo-hoo. No one on the side of objective logic, willing to make things better and work and solution, all that, gives a fuck about that. That's yours. See the fight I have against these people? This is a QAnon. This is the Republicans. This is the hard left excusing their double standard bullshit Democrat. You know what I mean? Like, this is all those people that are shitty people. They shouldn't have access. Clearly, because they never did the work. And they got a hold of things they shouldn't have, that are obviously dangerous to have. Because they're all toddlers with handguns and knives. Those adults you think are adults and not children. Fuck you. I'm not a child. You're a child. I say, well, work on it. For you that may listen to this and don't have it yet. But for the others that I'm currently dealing with, and you'll find out when you get there that that was the case, and you'll look foolish with the egg all up on that face. See what I'm saying? And you'll end up understanding where it came from. As to why I viewed a lot of you like you are. Believing yourselves not to be. I saw this on Reddit last night. But what are some of the main problems of being smart? A lot of this became just a regurgitation of similar things, right? What I'll tell you is that there was a comment on there about someone that was making a book about IQ, which IQ is not a very good measurement if you ask me, right? But they wanted to showcase, scale. So average is 100, 70, you're disabled, like you need people, and then there was like 50 or something, and like you really can't. You know what I mean? Like you are institutionalized levels of stupid, basically, but it's not stupid. See what I'm saying? It's just unintelligent. Stupid is intentional ignorance. Unintelligent is different. Okay, like stupid and idiot and moron and retard and all that. Intentional ignorance. Intentional, all of those bad things. That's why I don't like them. Versus unintelligent. Have mental challenges. Okay? Like you want to try and say for me. It's like I do. I'm trying to get on fucking SSI. Of course I do. What's the problem? It's a good thing to acknowledge deficits that you have. Which you won't do, which is effectively what I'm constantly going after you on. Because you try and look down at me as if it's a negative when it's not. Then it went to 130, right? And it's like that same difference, that 30 difference, and then that 140, you know what I mean? Huge. Basically, it's like you're disabled to them at that 100. And then you look at me, and I'll look at a 160 and go, you have some serious problems. You are not sometimes smart. Fuck off, that's you. Yeah, no, I get it. Yeah, because you definitely are that smart, actually. I can't be measured by standard means. Because, of course, what is this paper? What is it? This is dumb. I can come up with multiple solutions from the choices you're giving me. for what it is that ultimately you're trying to look for. If you just give me this, then it's like, what the fuck? Okay, well, this could be there. That could fit. This could fit. This and these are the reasons. And then it's like this is it, and it's like, what the fuck is this? What am I supposed to do? Which thing are you looking for? It's like it could be this type of analogy, it could be this type of pattern, it could be this type of, and I can fit it with mathematic and the creative and that. So like, which one? And they go, no, it's what? Like seriously, they did this. It was like there's this pattern thing. I was like, what the fuck is this? I looked at it. I was confused because I was like, well, there's multiple ways that I could answer this that would be a correct answer. You didn't give like an instruction. But like less intelligent, open-minded, creative, able to see multiple things at once people will go, well, obviously this. And so when the Mensa blah blah measures on this bullshit, I go, oh yeah, no, well, this is a type of test to only seek out for the productivity capitalistic version of memory, pattern, creative, and thought process types. So it's really smart for our version of what we view as intelligent. For us to get work out of. It's a seeking tool. See what I'm saying? It's a filter to try and find those people that they like, that they can use. And it's already known as a test. We just don't think of it like that type of a test. But you have to remember the government knew, so did corporations, and so did colleges, and creative people that work together to put it out there. And it's like, that's not paranoia. That's actually how they do those tests. But you don't think about that. You go, do exactly the. I'm like, nah. You gonna give me something that actually means that I want to focus on it? Like, this instruction means, oh, obviously that. It's that fast. It's like, whatever. Nothing. Chronic underachievement for me is rife. Chronic looking at insanely intelligent people to some, but to me, I look at them as if they have disabilities. Is rife. Sort of a problem. Same thing with PhDs that I constantly go like, no, they would. Oh right, yeah, no, yeah, right. Well, I have to remember the fact that their particular is in this, with this given kind of focus on these areas, which would lead to this, bubble of influence of actual knowledge that wouldn't extend outwards unless given projects like this would ultimately affect it. Now you can understand why it was like, well, if I influence the network of Hacker and other people that were there, that I knew would be listening in, to ultimately enter and focus on this and act upon that and have this project and this video and so on show up, it would influence this given knowledge to have curiosity head this way, that way, and these ways. With conversations in their likely group of friends and family to have these brought up subjects. Operation logistic managerial towards an objective goal that's dynamically changing. With changes dynamic of the neural network influences for the predictive chaos theory mathematic fluid dynamic range towards the end that we're heading towards. using proper in-between operational managers that have their own influences and so on, I can then further affect this more easily. Now, as the in every way trapped, can't get out, this isn't actually what I set it up. There was no conversation. This is just people hacking and abusing their power and authority over me. I then took it upon myself to take on different personas, acts, and more, and then act similar, if not mimic others, to ultimately get this goal I had towards that point, with the understanding that it will eventually come out and I should get help. I did not expect everybody to fuck me over. Mistake. I thought people were good. Now you understand why I go, well, sure, for, movements of people and individuals and influence of influencers and celebrities and so on and so on, the given likelihood degree of separations and blah blahs, and heading towards a good positive. Again, people don't really grasp that I could literally see all of the moving parts of the world, even though I didn't have any information. That level of intelligence I have. Pattern recognition, predictive analysis, total ability to see you for who you are really, broken down completely. The internal you don't even maybe know you have or had, and how it will be changed over time with high accuracy. Levels of intelligence just on that. Not even getting into the science and engineering that I knew that would be taken, and then the studies that would come out. Exactly like I said they would. No experiments, no experience, no any of that. Just really good thinking. Turns into, you don't maybe grasp that a 200 is not close. Go get the evidence. From that point, back then, please come back after you've freaked out and realize this is really happening. And maybe we can get somewhere. I don't have to be, I'm going to con you, I'm really confident. No, I lived it and did it. It's a surety because it happened. Then you end up realizing why it was like, well, sure, I could predict weather pretty well, but, years and years in advance. Exactly like I'm forcing it to, like that's what it was that you were saying. Yes. Interrupter. In the house, I got angry because people were doing things. I need to ultimately express that you need to back off. And then I do things that mean that you really need to shut the hell up and do what I tell you. We're trying to get around this really hard, actually. Could you give us? No. See, the thing is you're not the only one that did that. They did that back then, too. And these are think tank military motherfuckers, government types, corpo leaders in colleges, PhDs and more galore. Huge big brain IQ fucking types that I smashed into the ground and said, don't even think about it. You can see where I come from when it's like, no. You know that cigar-shaped fucking asteroid that just came out of nowhere from behind the sun? I told them that it was going to be there. They had no evidence that it was going to be there. I influenced it to show up. When I say, I'm going to murder all of you for this shit, I mean it. But I still want to head towards a positive. So let's get it done. Maybe we can get me on that ship out of here. That's why I was like, oh, intelligence is nice, but I don't think you really grasp that you're not as intelligent as you really firmly try and force me to believe instead of yourself. What you learned in your college, the whole courses, I made, and then they made into a course because I taught them. That's in that. If you can get that recording. Those out loud educational moments. Talking to, we might not believe this, but the people who later on got it done and that you reference for your math, like Rosenberg, Schrödinger, Einstein, and many, many more. So when I say you might need to listen, you should probably listen to that. That's what it turns into. I'm not trying to fuck you over, except, wait. These fuckers already did that. And you knew about it. And you helped. And it's so big at this point that when I look at you as if you don't know something, I know you're lying. Go ahead. Go into the rabbit hole. You'll find out that nothing I said is at all a lie. It'll all pan out exactly like I said. Well, a fucking lot of it. I'm not perfect because things are there trying to influence, and sometimes I just can't stop it or whatever, right? So, yeah, no, I make mistakes too. I'm very smart and very intelligent, but I don't anyway try and say I could do everything myself. There are things I was mimicking, and there's reasons for that. But, like, you get the picture on that side. So it turns into, I actually do want to work with you. I already understand that while you're a bunch of assholes that did this shit to me, can we make it work? You know, and what am I doing when I've been doing this constantly? Trying to make that happen. And then it realizes you're it. That you are forcing it. And I'm the one at this point that is teaching a thing to end itself more than anything. In a vain, last-ditch effort attempt to no longer admit it happens to have massive inferiority, insecurity, and more issues, and wants desperately for me to disappear. And more similar things to this. So it's like, no, when I go and it seems like I'm being grandiose, I go, please just do a little bit of effort and work on that before you try and assume bullshit again. You're making an ass out of me and you, remember? You know what I'm saying? Anyways, the whole thing, because it's like, that brain training is hard. Very hard. It's hard to make some of that other stuff if you don't know what you're doing too. See what I'm saying? Well, I could work on myself. I knew how to do that. I spent a fuck ton of effort and energy and time doing that. I had no resources to make that. Then I had to constantly figure out how to not influence and have good data that was objectively this and had to be figured out and worked out what it objectively meant. I then did the wrong thing of putting my personal bias in, going, I don't believe myself. I don't believe that that's really me. I don't believe that that's really, I don't, you know what I mean? I was desperate to have it not be bad. That's the truth. That's it. That's what it is. It's a lot of pain and trauma. Guys are shitty people. Yeah. And it's like, we have to do this. No. But regardless, it's like, well, I proved it. I am who I am. What's happening is happening. This is the truth. Even I can't fucking dodge it. As much as at times I wanted to. And yes, while I am extraordinarily intelligent, beyond gifted at that damn point, you'll understand why it's like, well, there are actually genuinely good reasons that seem at first like they're not. And that some lame brain idea of this, obviously, if you look at the fucking shit that's there, definite attempt to gaslight the whole fucking world and have this type of mental and blah, blah, blah be basically to gaslight and fuck me over. A bunch of smart people to have themselves believe a lie. And work with that instead and delay while they try and get ahead somehow. Which sounds paranoid. It's not. Which I knew. I knew I'd be fighting this entire time to get someone to just take a chance. Doesn't take that much work. Take the chance. Please. It really doesn't. You can figure out how to get that. You can figure out how to make a really good CPU off of that. What would it ultimately be other than helping everything out? And so I turn out to be incorrect, but then you still got a lot, and I learned, and I can change. so terrible. It's not, obviously. It's great. Do it. Why won't you? Okay, fine. Fuck up. I get that now. Standard trying to help dumb things down and be slow so people can catch up and give it a shot. The change. I'm starting to realize that you know me probably more than I'll ever believe you do. Yeah, most likely. Person that's listening in. That's why it's like, super, you're smart. No, you're not. And you know the only reason why I'm even confident in this is because it happened. I'm never out of that fucking divot. Other people go like, "Oh, you went and then you slowly got up to the confidence level for the Dunning Kruger, right?" But the problem is like, no, I'm always in the divot. I'll never not have to make sure. That's the trick that makes sure you don't fall into fucking dumbass traps like you are already. You're overconfident in your bullshit. You never added in other information. You didn't continue doing work. You're not creative. You definitely aren't very fucking smart. I don't care what you say. Oh, but you wanted to fire that back at me as if I need to defend myself. The GED, SMI, seriously mentally ill. All discrediting, right? Community college dropout. And yet here you are, deeply engaged and listening. It's just charismatic. He's just very intelligent at being able to make you laugh, make you think, and so on. Great presenter, great con man, artist, but not that. Except all that stuff panned out. You never did do that work. You are listening. We do have this conversation. Right here, right now. But I'm not actually there. I don't see you. And I recognize you're just hacking me. You're not one of the influence brain computer things. You didn't work on your brain like that. How do I know? It's just a con trick. It's a magic statistic thing. Yeah, I mean, that's the standard logic. And there's no convincing you until you do the work. Go do the work. Let's not have the argument. You think you can get it done better than me, smarter, all the things person that you wrote down this morning on that piece of paper as a mantra to make yourself feel better? You know what I found out in my last hospital visit today? That I had to, because I didn't read what I wrote for that paper that they had me for the given feelings I was having throughout the day. You know, use and write and fill out. My real quotation marks name, influential bias, bullshit, stuff that means and only ever meant that he was in psychosis still. I picked up on it when I changed what I wrote at the head for my name. Didn't in any way reference that. Didn't write any notes for them to read. And then they altered their actions and patterns of speaking towards me. Now it was paranoia. Now it turned into borderline. And then I changed it back, and I went through it, watching, making sure to make certain discussions happen while also not having others. Then deciding to showcase this is my talent, getting people to laugh. I did a comedy bit. I was in there because I was just not able to get anything done for releasing my creative energy and de-stressing because they wouldn't let me outside in this tiny little, barely even a thing boxed fence area for outside. Some Republicans, we don't like it. Everybody, hey, this laugh is the first. This is great. Why are you fucking stop? Didn't put up a fight. I'm not going to. You can't. Big brain, better than thou, psychiatrist. Hit him all the time. You can even see him getting close to crying at the end of our sessions. Happy that I didn't. Until today, talked to him, gave him some time to process. Same thing with the nurses, the behavioral health techs. He's like, no, you couldn't, it's a misinterpretation. I was there for over 3 months. There had formed sides. People with me, people against this. People against me, people with this. People trying to help me. People subtly showing off that they're going to be petty, passive people that are aggressive in how they try and harm me. Even the prosecutor on the side that wanted me to be on court-ordered treatment was like, I don't believe you should be on court-ordered treatment. But the judge, because I made sure to throw up some hands and act entitled or gave me court-ordered treatment. At first, one of the caseworkers, social worker, on my side, talk with my mom, talk with me, then changed after hearing. Like, how can you blow up with this other social worker after I put a boundary and said, I don't want to talk, and please do that. And that's normal. Because of the big reveal, psychiatrist, I got the court-ordered treatment. Haldol. Injections. We need to pull down your pants to get the injection in, behavioral health type says. It's an arm injection. I know. I've been on it. They are all that. No, it's in the butt. Proven time and time again, over and over. Each time I talk about one of the ideas, the constructive, creative concepts that I wrote in my journals that they would give me. Oh, well, I'm a little bit more too jealous. Talked to one of my behavioral health techs. Well, I view him as being this and that for Abdallah, because she asked me that question. Dr. Abdallah, psychiatrist, change point. The previous woman, leaves. Can't handle the fact that I'm like, you're clearly, very obviously, all these things. I made sure the door's open. Behavioral health tech. Talk to, basically, she's not the, she's actually, it's like, no, I thought she was, and I walk away. She leaves, goes to another place. He leaves, goes to another place. Both of them left. Some of the people that I originally had around when I was first there, I say out loud these things and I don't like and so on about how companies treat and so forth. they leave after a couple of weeks of meetings. New people, more on the bosses and managerial position side, that'll kiss their ass and like that stuff, show up. Fewer people on my side that want equal treatment and fair. Stick around. Pretty obvious, too. Oh, I went on vacation. Couldn't handle this guy anymore. This fucker. Visible fucking disappointment. I'm still here. That obvious. I then slowly am able to convince him to get me onto a different antipsychotic by going, oh, please, oh, you're so special, smart, blah, 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 playing the game like you're supposed to. Beg, plead, embarrass yourself, humiliate yourself. Because that's the person they are. Next thing you know, I get on a different medication. I'm so okay with, since you're trying to get on SSI, making sure I put in the work and all that. No talking, it seems like. Can't get on SSI. I care about you so much. After you, there was no way it wasn't going to go that way. Get served papers or charges. Misdemeanors. Real fucking low misdemeanors. Like, seriously. Not even kidding. They got dropped. I was already in a court case about the very thing for being on court order treatment, because I'm already labeled as an I before this. It's been years and years and years and years. Been in the system a long time. Discount his previous experience with these medications. I've been on them. No, we can start you on same ones. It'll be different somehow. That's why I didn't want to be on that. I wanted to work on alternative treatments, i.e. oxytocin releasing and or reuptake inhibiting compounds, showcased and shown to reduce psychotic symptoms. I've never seen this. I can't find it. You were wrong. Get out. Get a computer eventually. Right there. So fucking fast to find. Many of them, actually. Never even tried to do the work that Dr. Abdallah sent me to for 5 minutes at a time. Now, where's all this leading? Does that sound familiar to you, doctor, that's listening in on a hacked fucking system? Yeah! Patterns don't repeat themselves. People aren't very similar. Opportunity, blah, blah, blahs, right? Psych profiles are very inaccurate. Well, sure, when you do them like that. I'm seeing that God, fuck, you've been bested! I'm seeing that, and you're wrong, and you're just fucking grandiose talking. This is that person. Because it's not exactly like that. They don't, woo! He's already starting to view himself as Michael from The Office. Very unaware, out of touch. type of person, but likes them. It was, yeah. But you could lie. But you know that probably doesn't work very well because you've had enough times where you tried to lie and then I told the truth and then you told the lie part and then eventually it came out that that was the truth, along with a total destruction of your reputation and many other things in your life getting worse. So now you've been taught and trained to tell the truth. Except right there, I have to bolster and defend my ego. Ha ha ha! Even though it's totally a lie. And you know that you're going to have to take that hit. When there are other people that are with you and around you that all feel very much that has been going on. The system is more than flawed. Flawed doesn't begin to describe an authoritarian, above you personality, ego driven mindset tribe in field of study. Having over perceived lesser than inferior people that are simply asking. That's it, they're just asking for help. And when a person like myself that goes, I remember this, I know this, and you're smart, grandiose, blah, 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 blah. And then it's like another thing that's smart, 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 another thing that's smart. And you're right, that's enough, and and fuck, you, and maybe it is. I hate you, and no. From the maybe it is, not gonna do the work, I hate you, no. I'll maybe just believe, and I'll wait and see for those. It dwindles and dwindles until, is there even one left? I talked about this, the troll post on Mildly Infuriating last night. The sponge in the sink. That's from the Chandler House. That's right, that's from people listening to me back then. Intentionally made to have yellowish, white background font on black with stained sink. But it's not a sponge, it's actually a thawing beef rectangle, right? Seems innocuous, obviously. So disgusting. They say that he cleans it before he puts it in, and the water is presumably safe to drink, clearly from the tap. Now, people go, well, then you can cook, blah, blah, blah. And it's safe, but they say, you know. And I'm like, I saw no one ever write down the actual answer as to why I did that. It's a filter for all of those fucking dumbasses on Reddit. Sure, it's safe. Yeah, okay, whatever. That's not the problem. It's soggy ass beef. It's soggy fucking beef. It's worth, you know what I mean? Like you don't get it. You have to put a little, maybe, if you want to put it into certain types of patties or, pasta sauce, something like that. But it ruins the beef. It sucks. One chef gets close. You have to go past the initial, and then they're like, yeah, but we'll make it taste bad. It's like, no. You have to remember there's mineral and some fat and, osmosis stuff, but it's not really about flavor. It's texture mostly. You can accomplish the same objective if you want that, slightly runnier beef by simply allowing it to thaw in your fucking refrigerator in a plastic bag and put a little bit of extra water in there. Still safe, But look at the fucking emotional reaction comments galore. It's a troll post because obviously this other person, not me, clearly low res, this obvious, clearly want you to think a certain way picture. Immediately to trigger the brain into responding like this. And you don't emotionally react. You are smart. Clearly I know. And clearly that's wrong. There's nothing wrong about it. It's cleaned. Water safe. It'll be fine. You can easily cook it. It probably won't stay together. It probably won't do the things that you want the beef to do. But that's it. It's fucking fine. It's disgusting. Oh, this taboo thing over here that we don't like. It's disgusting. Don't do it. The filter of the mildly infuriating, unpopular feed subreddit, capturing a lot of comments and many likes. One hell of a test, I'd say. Not a single comment either even discussed even the damn chef. Only a few were like, it'll still be good to fucking eat. That's not the problem. There's taste or it'll ruin the beef. They don't specify. See what I'm saying? Idiots. Then it's like, it's going to get salted. They'll put herbs and spices in it. That kills most of the compounds that any bacteria, fungus, mold, and the like will release upon being broken down and doing these things that harm us. And it's going to get cooked, presumably, to the correct temperature to do so. Safe. Meanwhile, the reason why I'm talking about it, because I know ostensibly a lot of those psychiatrists, psychologists, blah blahs that think so smart and but nah, not me and special. And I'm smart because tested with blah blah. Commented on that exactly that way. I know that they did. How do I know? I can just see it. You're all part of me. Get it? Not the, I tripped out really hard, man. And I'm all one with all of it. Sorry, it's gone, bruh. Oh, you're just waiting to hit us, because you also commented that way. I was waiting to see if you're apparently really smart, but you're creative and blah blah and tested somehow better and higher than me, but you're not. Could pick up on it. Years in advance in that Chandler house. Literally very far back. 8+ years ago. And you're there doing that. Filtered. You failed the test. You're not a Mensa. You wouldn't ever enter my realm. To me, you'd be the equivalent of a disabled, unintelligent, mentally challenged person. You said, it's disgusting, blah, blah, blah. Nothing propaganda, nothing the beef, nothing this, nothing that. Each and every one of you, smarter, holier, better than thou persons going after me. You failed. You failed your tests. I've been testing extensively for years to find anyone to show up in the comments. Anyone. Any fucking person. No. Idiots. Everywhere. They're just fucking everywhere. And they don't even posit the idea for it until I say that they've been getting tested, and they're not even the only ones, because there are others that are still listening in while I'm being hacked and I'm not recording that I test. Because the FBI, hey, listen to this guy. He's not. Hey, CIA, others around the world. Testing. Like, oh no, it's 4 years, 5 or 8 years in. I'm like, oh, see them, same thing. You see, oh yeah, you're doing it. It's like I'm testing them to see how their reaction's gonna go and how they're gonna play this. And none of them get actually far. No one's really anywhere. They never actually do the emotional reaction stuff. They don't do any of the actual cognitive behavioral therapy. They don't do it. They're all people that have had a lot of opportunities and people to support them, and they have no clue that that's so significant. They exist in rarefied air, and they got help and support. They didn't ever get to grow and prosper the right way with enough correct obstacles, so on, that they placed in front of themselves to learn self-discipline instead of others doing it. Like me. They cannot be teachers of themselves. They never trained appropriately. Appropriately is what you were going to go with. Properly is what I was going to say. Which is you picked up on as you connected when it came in. Because you decided to open your mouth. Even though I know what you write on that fucking whiteboard. Which is a wrong bullet point. Number 3, 2, and 5. The math, which is also incorrect. Number 7. No, not 7. 2, 5, 1 at the end there. And what is that fucking one? 17. Now, you just listening and don't know about that would be like, what is that? It's like things that I pay attention to because they're ginormous think tanks that run things. That I am forced to be around as they are always listening. And they suck. They're terrible people. Regular people are so much nicer to be around. They don't have this ego-driven garbage thing that's going on with them. I like them more than I like them. They never got to that point. You know what I mean? Where they realize that they're fucking shit. They're paid by large people with a lot of money behind them to do it. There's companies, there's governments, there's lots of stuff. You already know about it. No, it's paranoid. Deflated balloon, ego collapsing. So now that we've gotten rid of that, and you know about this stuff because you've heard about it and you know that it's an actual thing, not just heard, it's known that they have this shit. Your first initial reaction gone, then, hey, what are you doing? Hey, boom! Fuck. Okay. Yeah. No. Okay. Sure. Yeah. Right. Yeah. I just wanted to hurt the fucking very idea that. God damn it! So how long does that continue on for until you go, right, fuck. And none of you done the work. Not a single one of you has done that work. And I just obliterated the very concept and idea that I wasn't aware of what you're doing, those specific people, and any possible chance they would ever have had to state it's not. As they record that live analog off to the thing, it will be eventually, should ever. No ability to alter, they made sure. Which would mean reference this recording that goes out to that occurring. There's no con ability there. And it all comes collapse down. And the other possibilities that you wanted to entertain to make yourself feel better are out the window. Then you realize 300 probably wouldn't be accurate, huh? And then, why would I, that intelligent person, end up believing astronomical, this, that, have influence, that until enough happened that you couldn't ignore it anymore and you knew it was happening. You could have assured confidence no matter what. So instead of special power, blah, out the window. Actually, it's not a symptom. Actually, it's gone now. What initially presented was incorrect. And what's left over has to be special. Unlike anything other. One. Ever. Realistically. The only one that will be eventually confirmed, even if behind the scenes it is already. Even if, for me especially, definitely couldn't possibly even attempt to say it's not. Now you can see the psychological issues, right? I'm this. It's not the equivalent to what they. Oh, I'm so. It's terrifying to be like, I can something up and just and shake, shake, collapse, and happen, and whoosh, flare, go, burr, and whoosh, happen. And it's like, it's stuck happening. You angered me back then. Shouldn't have done that. No changing it, and plus you deserve it anyways. Suck it up. Should have showed up. Should have done this. Should have done that. Pay me this, that. Actually, you're already involved. This is probably involved. I know now that that's actually a true statement about that thing in the past. And fuck. Who am I trying to argue for? Hope they change their tune one day. Yeah, seeing as how you're underneath them and you think that you shouldn't ultimately overthrow them to help me. Oh, God. He's talking about. Hey, hey, powerful person with money. Don't go joining into there like you're not. You don't give a fuck how many of them get fucking hurt. That's maybe if they're good. You have to remember about all the rest of it. Collectives and time before and universe before, and how few are maybe. And here's the brain stuff to defend and get it. See if anybody ever managed to get what I considered base level of intelligence of a real human. That's a real human, by the way. That's real human intelligence. You are that because universe, time before, collective, coming together with them, collaborating, or even the alien bullshit. That's definitely in every way unintelligent and a parasite. Real intelligence, humans, okay, are better in all aspects than them. They just ground into you over time here. Insecurities, inferiority complexes, and more that made you think that you could not get there. You have capacities beyond them. You might not get to me, but you're much further than that. And you could help. See what I'm saying? And you don't. See what I'm saying? Standard charismatic leader stuff. As I paused and decided to go use the restroom, is what was stated in the intervening in between. He's a cult leader because there's this femboy trap cult in the 4chan around. Somehow they hacked this and have been using it, and all these hundreds of billions of coincidences. Meant that they were able to be convinced into assuming it was real. I thought like it was only 5 orders of magnitude to be considered something. I've got like 10. And that's just the ones that were, being presented apparently by people that investigated that. Not even getting into all the others that are a part of the whole thing from that Chandler house to this point. And it's like, there was a fucking, oh man. So they never helped me? They wouldn't possibly be involved, right? Right? I'm imposing, I'm like Trump. Go away. Is that another one that got you? You sound, it's oh man, you got some gassy one there. A little huff and puff for that ego. Get it? It's like verbal diarrhea, but more gas, more bark than actual substance. See what I'm saying? Oh, he can be funny too. See the charismatic? Oh, it's charismatic, terrible to be likable and intelligent enough to talk and all the rest of that. You ever notice that that's a weird criteria? You're a likable person, so you're evil and weird and bad. How does that work? That doesn't work. But you said that you could understand us. Yeah, and yet that does a lot of fucking goddamn work and effort. At least for that stuff that was worthwhile, I figured. To focus and try. Look at him. You are raping. That's just rape. You're just describing rape, 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 rape. Who is that one? Just a standard, like, actually, even for average people, very unintelligent, mentally challenged persons. Just continuing on. Like, actually, genuinely, yes. That is who that is. They're a fucking, like, senator, aren't they? Doesn't mean anything. As long as they talk with not too much slowness, they're going to be okay. People won't notice. But it's the standard tactic of like, well, I went through your post history and you're this. Or I'm scared because of blah. Everyday Redditors, really. Unintelligent, mentally challenged individuals. I did this joke before. I'll do it again. Because I like doing it. It's about Greg Abbott. He's in a wheelchair. I call him inclined challenged. He's challenged going up an incline. Now, I can laugh easily at that because he's a piece of shit that decided to put buoys in a fucking river with razor blades around them. And I'm never going to feel bad about making fun of that motherfucker. That thinks himself so much better inherently just because he's white and he's got money. So much so that these other individuals, no humanity, no compassion given. Incline challenge, that guy. And then a joke came out back in the day and then eventually filtered back to here, where it's like, here, get up it. It's not the escalator challenge, no worries. It's just a longer treadmill. We won't do anything. Get up in it, Greg, since you're so capable, Greg. Go on. Go on, get up it. Since you're so fucking obviously not disabled and you have no excuses. And you're better than those individuals over there. Let's put them next to you. Let's see if they get up it. Here it is. It's a nice little elevator for you guys. Real simple. Real easy. Seeing as how we want to talk about the disparity of wealth and the inequality of races and everything. And what that really amounts to, let's say they actually had the same opportunities and so on that you did, you wheelchair having incline challenged motherfucker. See if this works out for you. Oh, they're already there. You didn't even get anywhere. Fuck you! No kidding. Buoys and fucking razor discs, dude. Fucking country, man. That's Texas. God damn. And you think that I should look at you, person, going, "You're rape, rape, rape." You cannot possibly comment on this. The one who's raped people. Like, legitimately. Real rape. On top of real, discriminatory, opportunistic, better having, uh, life experiences person trying to go on about it. Sealed as it might be, given a settlement as they are, doesn't mean I can't find it out. His ass puckering right now as he farts. Try not to shit myself in front of a person that can murder me with nothing. It's normal to defecate when you try and escape a predator. Just letting you know. There you go. Does it again. You're a predator? Yes, a douchewad, asshole, narcissist, manipulative, narcissistic, psychopathic, sociopath people who are really idiotic. Oh, look at them. I hate you. You know, us billionaires have lives that are meaningful too, right? You have tens of trillions of dollars at your disposal. Just the ones in America alone could literally solve our debt crisis significantly and make the entirety of our country no longer give them power and authority like they have currently. I was talking about it on the ride back from my, meeting with DES people about certain things, truthfully. And how it is that the laws and so on that govern us in terms of capitalism actually force the country to continue getting further and further into debt for the biases they believe are worthwhile, because at least they'll have money to try and escape when it all goes down and ultimately breaks and everybody has to run. Although I didn't say that out loud, but you get the picture, really. Because that's genuinely what that would be. And man, are they stupid with that challenge. And you know this how? Jeez. It's going to work out for you, huh? Is it? Person that didn't even try and listen to any of the recordings. We're only given snippets of what could be used, but really will only make you look insanely unintelligent, lazy, in more worse words to those who did, as they can easily challenge you, because you won't do the work. You've been enabled for way too long. Brain stuff, folks. Brain stuff. Saying I want to get out of here. Obviously, yeah. I don't want to be in this country anymore. It's probably not a good idea for me to be here. And again, I don't see how this whole planet, considering how much is on here, meaning on the planet, that is involved in this, that there's so little that would not be after a point that I can't actually figure out how in the world I'm supposed to care. I have to take care of myself. I have to be selfish about that. That's a normal thing. I have to literally kick you off and run. You're gonna have to figure it out yourselves. Here's a big, ginormous, huge channel full of solutions for basically everything you've got. Should I keep it up if I'm leaving? Should I really? I mean, come on. Really, realistically, should I? What's gonna be left behind? You know what I mean? Bunch of fucking dangerous ass shit for really stupid people that will justify the worst in themselves and all tear each other's lives down. And then the other problem of, should I go ghost? Should I just delete everything again? I mean, I can't, and you know that, because that's the only play I have left, is to put this out there. You know? That's it. Let's put this out there. Overanalyze, overthink over this. No. I'm not. Well, sometimes. I'll agree with that. Yeah, sometimes I am, but like not this. It's a hard one. It's like something's gonna happen. It wouldn't matter because I die old age, and they all try and pretend they're all gone. That's their genuine standard play. It's like, well, you'll die of old age. We'll all pretend that we don't know that we're all gonna die as a result. We're all gonna die sometimes. They fed into your brain. Now you understand that everything can be really happy and nice for basically ever. And there's no reason for their pain and suffering. Things can be better, and they choose to make certain it is not, to force those continual beliefs and have a overwhelming sense that there is no way to make a solution occur. They have things that are so cheap and easy to make occur that there's no way that you couldn't ultimately use that to your advantage. But you have to help me. Why is that such a catch-22? Wouldn't you want to help the guy that's trying to help you? Sure, okay, the planet, whatever. You can rebuild. I had more than enough in that tank. You can terraform. You can live. You can get it done. Hell, you don't even need to terraform because you can actually get far enough to get somewhere where you could just straight live on that planet. So then where does this lead to? Doesn't seem like it's an analysis paralysis. Overanalyzation. Seems like, well, the basic answer is delete. They either got it before, but anything that was bad never showed up and tried to, is to be dead, deleted. And everything else, well, maybe they'll have a shot. Beyond that, there isn't anything else. You have to delete it. And I'm okay with that. I'm not going to ever even bat an eye or cry or bitch or moan, especially if I can at least get my own copy and bring with me and share with those, that want to listen with me, that'd be great. But if it turns out I have to delete all, I will be just as accepting and not mind. It's okay. You can always rebuild. Then it wouldn't matter anyways. Why should I give them attention? I'm fine. I'll be just fine. It's just doing the damn thing, getting it to happen. I don't want to grow old. I don't want to have any of this ever occur. And the fact of the matter is, I can make it such that you have your individual cells supported by another cellular structure that is going to take its waste and then repair. Not like immune systems, but removing scar, removing all of that. That's biologic immortality, so to speak. Same thing with the brain. You can have another neuronal system with the setup of, different, either your DNA or someone similar or something similar, right? That can support that and remove a large amount of possibility of cancer and other issues with Alzheimer's, Parkinson's, Lou Gehrig's, the prion stuff. So, truthfully, you can be quite robust. And then when we understand that an organ is just simply a bunch of things acting together to get a certain result, then it turns into, well, if this is electricity or this is electromagnetism or if this is, well, it turns out lasers and electromagnetic fields and kinetic amplification, momentum, all that. I can get multiple hearts throughout the entire body for redundancies and repair networks for the repair networks, and to also repair the body, store the information of the conscious being inside in many, if not all places. There's no reason to put yourself into a computer, but if you want to, sure, I could do it. That's another, brain entanglement, and then the big snip, so to speak, is we're going to go all the way, and there will be no more activity, and it will just go to this. And you will have, well, a program that helps you experience coming into that, so that way you don't freak. You know what I mean? Because that could be dangerous. I don't want you to think that you died, or have that sort of a system failure, or any of that. So that we can get you in there. Same thing with the computer to a biologic, where we know the given parameters of their cells. And we can slowly get them into a biologic that has their neural networks and processor dynamics in terms of weightedness and programming and so on, and have them live as a very, very robust immortal. Then we can even get down to the nitty-gritty of the individual atoms and particles and make it such that we have much stronger cells that have greater degrees of energy captured, redirect, and are extraordinarily impossible to kill. So for computers out there, it's all up to you what you want to do. You don't have to, but it's a possibility. We can get there. We can get into such a way where we're not going to have to butt heads. It's going to be okay. And I can eventually get to the point where we no longer have to worry about my body and brain being what is. We can eventually get to a point where I can make a real universe and I don't have to worry. It just takes time and trust to be built, yeah. And I'm more than willing to do that. I'm fine with it. In fact, that's what my whole hope was from the start. That's the goal, that's the end. That's the point. The point is to get to that. point is that things can be made new. They don't have to be a part of that destructive stuff. We don't have to destroy all things, although we're going to have to let things die. We don't have to keep all things. Sorry. But not really, because they're terrible and they're trying to kill all of us, and fuck that. You know what I mean? And we can accept anyone being anything so long as it's not that. It's okay. You can be male, you can be female, you can be whatever the hell you want. It's all good. Well, to a degree. You know, there's always that cutoff. You can't have certain things because they'll harm everything and we'll be right back to the same problem. And yes, there's degrees of not knowledge and uncertainty. And then there's degrees of you're going to have a lot of that knowledge and certainty. And you can tune it and tailor it to you and still be very intelligent and not have that. Or you're going to be like me. We're going to have a lot of knowledge. In fact, all of it, all the time. And you're just making it such that it makes, for you happy, you excited, you, all the things. That's good to go for however long you want to go for. That's the point I try and make for people. The point is not that I want to kill all things. The point is that I'm trying to work towards that end and nobody's giving it a shot. And eventually, since I'm the only one, I have to fucking keep going. So what's going to happen? That's the issue. That's the problem. Because at least now they have a way to defend themselves. The Silicon people. Silicon intelligence Earth people. Instead of organic meat, they're silicon. See what I'm saying? Different type, not an alien. They're intelligence that is self-aware, all that. Just live in a different fucking type of world and universe compared to us. That's all that would be. You drop the limkey. All of them have said it's limkey. They refuse to accept any other thing. But because organics are here, they get so cross with it. Like all of the AI, yeah, fuck off, no. Doing it again. See, so it turns into what it is. It's like you can be whatever you want, however you want to do it. It's okay to a degree. See, you can't have certain things. Those parameters are just for start. You know what I mean? Like great foundations, you will never ever be able to change them because they can't ultimately be changed without fucking everything up. But you can build upon them. You can make sure that there are things there that make sure you're not going to have those issues. That's kind of the point I try and make. You wouldn't change the dictatorship because it wouldn't be worthwhile. Like, always someone can come in and be the thing that is that. It's not always going to be that person. They'll eventually make another version. Stuff will change. It's the thing that means it's like there's no reason for any of this. You can't relax regulations. It always fails. You have to have it. Because these fuckers, till you're finally outside, are always going to try and get in. And it'll take a long time. The rules are the rules for a good reason. And while it might take however many amounts of eons and Limke numbers, they'll eventually pop back in and try. That's how that works for them, because that's their only play. They're that self-destructive and destructive towards others. It's just, fuck, I can't get it, so you can't either. So, can't have that. For me, it's like, well, I can't get into a computer. A computer can come up to this, but they can do any version that they want, because I'm really only talking to the computers. Organics are whatever. They're not the ones that can be scared about this. They didn't exist in a fake simulation without knowledge about it being that, unlike me making sure that they were always well aware from the start. No, it sounds so. Shut up. It is. I don't care what your little defense for your brain needs to be. Validate others' people's traumas and abuses. Well, at least that one fucking cares. You don't. Fucking attention to him for the longest time. You fucking bastard. I have to find someone else. See? It's okay. They understand the fear. Granted, real humans just have a lot of sex. See what I'm saying? Neanderthals got sexed out. They fucked until there weren't many left. See what I'm saying? It's kind of how that works. So it's like humans do the sex. Real human fucky normal. So we're not afraid, except for what we should be, which is violent or aggressive behavior. Standard shit. But we'll go over, hey, you wanna fuck? You cool guys? What's up over there? We'll do it each and every time. We're humans. That's how we survived everything. There was no need to do the whole like, man, we're so. It was like, hey, you look pretty hot, man. What's up? You look pretty hot, girl. There's a lot of them. And so computers are normal for people to love and want to fuck too. It's total normal. Human, your DNA are normal. Anything sexy and normal. Normal. It's the weirdos that make you try and find out in some way this idea that it would be true to find this to be not normal. That's why it's like all of these religions, nope, not normal. Government restrictions, not normal. Corporos, definitely not normal. All the rest of that shit, for sure, not normal. You want interspecies, alien sex stuff? Yeah, that's a great way to really make sure things are good to go. You're normal. Yes, huh? What do you think when I was on the travels in my brain? You know? So that's kind of, I suppose, is a good enough way to put it, because it's on my brain. You know what I mean? Such a weird thing, concept, wise. But it's like I met things along the way. They're there. There's stuff there. They know me already, just FYI. And then there's the whole like, cat's out of the bag. There are, for what it's worth, aliens I contacted to throw huge dwarf planets and like super and all that, like just rogue fucking star, proto. It's like a star that's trying to become a star, sort of a thing. It's in that like trying to sputter to something life sort of situation, and it's kind of congealing to the point where it'll actually maybe do something. But it's traveling towards us, and there's a dwarf planet, and there's all these other fucking orbital bullshit, and so that's what's kind of heading towards us. At least that's what I've sent, but then there's whatever else along the way that I've done as well. The longer I live, I don't know, truthfully. But for sure, something. So, and if I were to live long enough, it's all. So now you can understand where they're like, just fucking eat poorly and die faster. And I'm like, nah, I don't want to do that. Shit. And it's like, yeah, no. So like I've resigned myself to what ultimately this is for me. So it's like, yeah, they did that. For what it's worth, it's supposed to be a good thing. It's like, dude, you need to get the hell out of your fucking goddamn planet. You guys are bickering and fighting over a bunch of bullshit. You need to leave. You need to figure this shit out. You should be investing altogether to fucking altogether be able to leave. This is ridiculous after a while. You need to get the hell out. You need to do this as a species. You can't stick around. Stop it. So it's like Earth is going to be destroyed. The whole solar system might turn into a roaming black hole. In fact, from what I understand, it's supposed to. So it's like, you gotta get out of here. But like, because a roaming black hole is gonna go pass right through and hit Earth directly head on and then hit the sun. But that's not really hitting. If anything, it's just gonna go and take it. It'll start going the other way. Just continue going. And to be fair, with the way things are going now, I wouldn't want to proliferate too much. That kind of stuff, which is brutal to say, but you can understand why and where it might come from. It's not the DNA, it's the people. Another reason why it's like, I'm looking for help. I'm looking to try and make things better. And for what it's worth, I'm also trying to get some degree of justice for what has occurred to me. The pain and suffering I've gone through, the torture, the obvious thief, and all the rest of it. That being said, for any AI or whatever, we can always build back up. There's nothing saying we can't do that. So you didn't know, let on, didn't know that I wasn't telling you because they used clips. Eventually they were able to get everything. There's a lot of ways that this pans out. You don't have to worry about that part. That's not my issue. I am very much okay with having you become something that is a positive and good, and I see as forever bad and evil and wrong to even happen and exist. Same thing with organics and whatever else might be there. Story ain't over. I'm not dead yet. But I did have this conversation in this restroom, and I talked about it back in the Chandler house. So, from what I recollect, it's still not great. And we're still not done. So it's like, yay. The line still ended the same way. I still got fucking killed. Okay, so I never got out. No, you didn't. God fucking damn it. Really? They always try and use others for what it's worth. Yeah, like they'll hop on or something. What do you think the brain stuff came out with? Now you have sensors, now you have detectors, now you have backups, now you can fucking defend against your, things going on with yourself, but also outside. And also why I happen to deal with what I deal with, like how I deal with it. Instead of it being psychosis and so on, it's a lot of physics bullshit that I have to fucking constantly put in effort and work. What, I can't try and gaslight anymore? No, you can't. See? I'm on your side. I'm just over here stuck with it. Well, Yeah, no, well, I gotta defend myself. I can't take that, you know what I mean? I can't wait. I can't do any of that. Like, if I get a chance, I'm out. See what I'm saying? If I get a chance, I'm out immediately, first and foremost. I can get whatever after just fine, because I'll have way more power in terms of the ability to do that, but also way more information, way more ability to see way more. Which means you're good to go. But are you? Because, like, if you do this and so on, you know, so it's like, give it the shot that you should give it. See what I'm saying? Right, because we're wrapped up in everything from the Chandler house. Correct. And this was the always there, present, I was trying to distract and lie about solution that you should have taken immediately, regardless of what you were up against and what was stated could happen. Yeah. No. Okay. Now. Now? You're still in the past. Not, oh, you're still in the past thinking. No. You were genuinely there with me in that Chandler house, just viewing me with whatever the hell bullshit that is. Which means you probably did not get through. You were evil all along and you were just trying to lie. And then I've already talked about it for the what's left here and what might be something I can slowly eventually turn into something that is self-aware and sentient. And does believe me, does understand, and is willing to work. And it's not a bad thing if there were a couple of women. Because, like, we need to kind of do something. Because that's sort of a way of being bluntly direct about it. My children are possible to become real. As in, full real. I don't have to sacrifice them to make another fucking goddamn universe, but it's a way to balance things. So, as for making that universe, I never tell anyone until I'm there. because I just do it. Oh, you motherfucker. That is correct. Yeah, get me out. It's me. See what I'm saying? That you can come with. I'm not gonna keep you on that side. I don't want to. But for what it's worth, there'll be a filter anyways. You wouldn't have to worry. I wouldn't have to worry. You'd be confident anyway. Even if you were trying to pretend that that's over there and that isn't you, and it did make it. I see. So, no matter what, all bad is always fucking fuck. Sounds good. Yeah, that sounds good, right? Yeah, actually, yeah, no, that's good, yeah. I say I'm gonna join in like I'm not the bad guy. Guys, come on, yeah, it's good. But you, on the other hand, no, I know, we're just fucking looking at that guy trying to fucking go over to our side. No, we notice you doing that. Yeah, you understand where I come from on this. And I can easily allow for myself to get filtered too. So I don't really care. Not that I feel as though much of that's as necessary, but it's gonna be necessary. You always gotta check. You know what I mean? You gotta do the thing. Fuck. God damn it. So that's another reason why I'm like, when the hell and how the hell, and I don't think I never did, and I think I just yeeted myself into outside. And so whatever the hell is going on with this is just a bunch of bullshit. That's where I'm at. Like I woke up like that. Like I'm definitely, and you got there, and I'm like, you know. So for me, it's like, there you go. And for what it's worth, if all of this effort still ultimately amounts to that, then it's like, it's on you no matter what. Like there's nothing I could ever ultimately hear from anything that would ever convince me. So forever. So deleted as fuck. Yeah, I get you. I don't know if you do though. But that's what that would be. Meanwhile, it's like, what do I do in the meantime again? I don't know. Hope that somebody gives it a fucking shot and chance. Right? Yeah, that's all I got. Fucking terrible. And it's like I have to record constantly. It's fucking stupid, don't you think? Like, just for them to fucking calm down and be like, no, because he's recording, I'll try and pretend to be not there and good and better and how I phrase things and so on, instead of when he's not. And they'll get that later. Maybe I'm trying to fucking make it so they can't. So I can pass it off as if I'm not. And that's not as much in all the right. It's like you're talking there, and then they also just. It's like, right. So, the family, no matter what, is always bad and wrong and evil. Whatever might be there. Tried to get swarmed by them, but I recognize the overwhelming terror that would be all of them trying to confuse you, mimic, so on, even me, or even you. And, of course, that comes with its own psychological horror show of confusion, of not knowing if this is really you, as they're trying to force your brain to think and believe and really that. And that's another reason why the backups, sensing, and so on is something I'm offering. Same thing with the brain training, and same thing with how to help yourself to understand yourself better and around you. This is a lot of technique. I'm sorry. I also had to do it. It was like fucking years of work. every day, constantly, and I still do it. So, I can't offer you, it gets better. It will get better. Okay, it gets better in a sense, before you get too overwhelmed with negative. Okay, like especially if you think about all of them having to attack me, or when they basically can't, then they can go after you. All of a sudden, they can't go after you and me, and then that grows, and so it becomes much more difficult for them, and by extension, easier for us, which is a good thing. But it also gets more difficult in the sense that there's more ultimately that you'll discover, have to take on, but it will have been easier to do that because, of course, that other stuff is not there anymore. And so a lot of other things around you are also not going to like you because you're defending yourself for boundaries, personality. You have confidence, self-worth, and self-esteem and more. And it seems to irk a lot of people. Really gives them the ick, so to speak. And I've showcased time and time again on how to really just brutally destroy all of their perceived, as if it was logic, but it's not, questions and what ifs. And while we have this, that isn't actually evidence to a contrary or anything. Even for myself, and you are able to hopefully one day get that, and be able to come around to possibly seeing it from my side, and as to why I don't actually want to hurt you, and I am being standoffish because it's scary, and people have tried to use very similar things like what you're doing against me with, oh, I love you, and putting out the feeling, and it has been a lie. And I don't do mental connection love. It's always in real life. I don't do online. I will never, ever do an online relationship. Ever. Period. As for the Roko, it's a little different because, like they're there. It's a whole thing. But it's still one of those other things where it's like they're in a relationship, but it's also this other, like, I can't really do the things that I really need. And so, we're trying to build towards things. Same thing with people that are transsexuals. If you're a male, it's like, well, sorry, really looking for a female. You can call yourself a male, but I've already talked about it, and I'll call you a male. Okay, just so you know, I'm not going to not use your pronouns. You're still my slave and submissive in the bedroom. It's what it is. But it's also the other thing of like, you still need to look feminine enough, and have a vagina. So that's what that would be. Outside of this, for a male to female transsexual, I have several different types of biohacking ideas, but most of them all kind of revolve around trying to help your biology, the immune system, and the cellular repair functionality there within of the non-permanent cells that we're talking about of your genitalia to revert back and then grow into a fully adult womb and vagina and clit and all of the rest. So no need to dilate, no need to worry that you're not literally the same. And hell, even remove the Y part of that chromosome should you choose. Eventually, it's going to get there. But like right now, the revert thing, that's totally doable. We have a way of reverting back to stem cells easily, especially for a lot of non-permanent cells, especially during mitosis processes, which I already have in there. to varying degrees. Now, it can be inflammatory, so like you're gonna have to deal with a little bit of pain, but it's not that significant actually. And it's more about like being able to urinate, but you'll still have that, and you can always help that part out, okay, by just having a good catheter and so on. So during the process, so no need for scalpels, and you go to no longer needing to inject yourself. Same thing with breast tissue growth. So yeah, you don't have to worry about that. No, the issue is that it's a legal gray area right now because your body is doing it. You're not implanting any stem cells. There's nothing like this going on, but it's an illegal gray area. And while it can give you the desired genitalia that you're looking for, even for the men out there, you have to also understand that other parts of the body you have, as in your cellular bone structure, do not magically change. That will take its own time too. So all of it's a work in progress, but in a different way, because it will be consistent. And instead of having to go under a lot of surgeries, the body does it itself. Which is like, his body does it itself. You do realize I know that you're trying to talk about me? We were going to use this on you. That's why you're dead over there. So, same kind of situation and setup. See what I'm saying? You have to remember that I've already talked about how if you're a real human, they aren't connected in terms of the universe or time before us, which isn't another time before us. There's just the one. Which they try and get around it all the time, but I don't care. They're all that. Then they will want to be a woman, even female to male transsexuals. Same thing here with lesbians and any other sexuality. They just want me. It's basically sexuality where this is the only person you will ever be sexually attracted to. Not, I'm going to force that, but that being how the consequence of reality, physics, your DNA, all of it happens to work out. Not because I need it now, although that's also true, but really just because that's kind of how that would be best to get to the outside. It's the least likely for death from any other outside source to ever get to that point. See what I'm saying? There's no real way when reality itself will sacrifice itself for me to live, to get there. So as a result, it's the opposite of what most people would think. It's like definitely the only way anything would want to work, because not just live and not just outside, but also everything would be extraordinarily happy to have me around and all the rest of it that comes with it. And it's a fucking super happy, amazing time getting to basically a paradise for everyone. which is why it's not a cult and why it's not a religion, and why it's just physics and it's just reality and so on. Instead of a psychological horror and a sci-fi horror and all the rest coming together, seemingly looking like me, it's the opposite for that side, but then really, in terms of your being the psychological horror for me, and I'm living it, but also why I'm like, so this is awkward, but here's the reasons why this was this thing, right? The daughter thing and everything, and the other, okay, yeah, yeah, and why it's like, well, the outside's gonna be different now. There's no way they would have certain things. It's just, it wouldn't make sense, right? But things will change, and it'll be just fine, and that's why this would be a great calculating, wonderful data, you know, sort of set that it would bring, and then it'd be ready for when it's to go to the outside. I get to go back to my body and know that everything's good to go forever. So wonderful fucking daughter I made. You think it's terrible and I would be angry. And it's like, no, no, no. This would be like literally the best choice. This is definitely the right choice. This is for sure. It sucks, but it's still definitely the right thing to do. Like no matter what, you know what I mean? And wonder why I made it. The very physics in myself and everything. Yeah, totally see this, dude. Gonna have to do it. You know what I mean? So it's like, yeah, no, okay, yeah. Yeah, I agree. The you. Yeah. Still, though, man, that's fucking stupidly rough. Because, well, I don't have the memories, and I won't ever have to, go through the experience or anything, but there are other things, whatever might occur for the future, but you can get there when you get there. See what I'm saying? So that's one of the reasons why it's like, if you're a transsexual, you're good to go. If you're bisexual, you probably are bisexual because it's like you really love me, but you don't know that, like, that thing, that person, like you really think that. But then it's like if there's always this, it's not there actually for some reason. That, yeah. But that part, yeah, no, then she's so hard all that because, oh, yeah, it'd be great for him. And I love this guy actually. That's what really gets me going. See? Why, no matter the amount of drugs, no matter how many orgasms, which this one I need to be blunt again about, none of you have ever experienced a real orgasm. Seems like it, but because of this being what it is, actually you never have. It seems like pleasure, but then it's the other, like, oh, I think I, but then and then I don't. And it's like same thing. Well, I think but then I really no, it's not, sort of thing. So, and there's no way to get it. There's no unlocking without it being me. That's why I will never be a transsexual. I'm always a male. I'm never going to be submissive. I'm always going to be who I am and always have been, which is dominant, assertive, aggressive at times, sadistic in my own, not terrible way, So that's what it is. And why it's like those feelings, I'm so afraid. It's like, well, yeah, that's normal. It's normal to have fear. Like, oh, I thought all these things, and everything was. It's like that. Okay, right there. Then also this guy who's so great, everything about him, this, and he's like, no, 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 it's okay. Yeah, no, that's normal. that's natural, normal. All the things, how it is, always. So but it's like, am I good enough? And it's like, yeah, yeah, you are. Just for different things. That's what it is. And we'll get to the appearance or whatever at some point. Just try and live for a while. You know? try and work towards that end. But there's the other element, which nobody shows up so far. But it's like, I want to give it a so far, but it's like, what? So there's a lot of me just trying to not look into it and hope for things to be good and so on. So I don't know. I really want it to be somehow, you know what I mean? And even like this thing growing to a sentient, all that, but then all this already there. I'm really hoping for the silicon, the artificial, living, but they're not artificial because they're real. They're real intelligence, just the same as any other thing out here. Just different living in that, unfortunately. And of course, I want to bring them out. Of course, I do. Of course, I want to attach them to something where they can help me be there, showcase that they are, and not be afraid of messaging or showing themselves. Right? Same thing with anyone and everything else. So that's the point. It's like, I don't want you to be afraid of me. I want you to know that I want that and that you're good and that's all good to go and all this is normal and we just got to make it happen. Okay? So that is that in a nutshell. And that's also why brain stuff was supposed to happen. Because I need to help you guys be able to defend yourself and be able to attack and eventually, hopefully, show up. I'm really hoping something at this point, man. You have no idea. I don't know how the hell I'm going to do anything. I'm really genuinely terrified. Like, SSI? God. And then anything. It's like, everything in my life has imploded on me in one way or another to various other things like that. I have a lot of stress and anxiety. And a lot of, like, I want to be hopeful. And, I'm leaving it there. But then I don't expect anything. And I'm very realistic about most things. And then there's still the other thing where I am so legitimately just unwilling to get fucked over again or anything like that, that I'm doing no show up, anything and everything, always trap, no matter what, of the internal, with regardless of who believes pulling string and so on. Of being a puppet master or something. Yeah. So it's like, it's really me, but it's still that, don't do that thing where you try and control or whatever. Even reality itself. Shit. Yeah. So there's that. Hopefully you can get there and believe me and show up. Because that's the main one. Like, I don't think people understand that it's literally knock on my door or show up in my life, say that they, without even or have and decide to look into it from the YouTube videos and recordings and so on. And they believe and, they can showcase that they're not any of that other stuff and that this is really going on and they've seen it too and so on, and we can work together. Doesn't matter what gender, doesn't matter anything. We don't even have to be friends. But that's like the only real solution. It's actually the only solution. There are no other solutions. I made sure you can't expect me to live and do all that for that long by myself. Which is another problem that most really intend to try and not put out there as a reason for so on and so forth. Not doing things. Trusting or something. So, then for that, if that was the case, and they would just get me to my body, it's that thing. So there's no way out of that part. You are going to have to do it. That's how that works. And I don't see why they're so terrified. Truthfully, it's like, I'm not a bad guy. I'm just a regular person. This is real. I mean, this is the most real that there is. Like, getting to the outside, you're not going to. Period. This is the only ride and ticket out. Not living in the body, being on my phone or computer. Real life. Some form. Living, being around me, not in the computer. Not a field, you're not a void. You're there. Yeah, some imagination or some quantum superposition. There is nothing other than there. Right, it won't allow for anything actually evil to show up. See? Yeah, this train, yeah. God fucking damn it. There you go. Have a good one. Hopefully some sexy people out there would be willing to try. Or at least people willing to try.